What is up, YouTube? So I've been questioned on how I made E5 in 2 years. I made E5 a year ago. It was my second year in the Navy, and I just never made a video. So I figured, why not make a video since I have the time now? This is gonna be mainly, I would say, Navy specific, because every branch has like a different structure on how they do promotions. And if your quotas are really bad, or you're gonna pick a job where the quotas are like really bad, this may not work for you. You might get mapped or something using this method, but it's not guaranteed. But I have seen people that have gotten promoted really quickly have a similar structure to what I ended up doing. So I have notes on my phone, so I'm probably gonna be looking at my phone a lot, but I'm gonna give a little background. When I was in school, since I had a long school and I had made E4 in school, people were like, there's no way you're gonna make E5 your first attempt, this and that. And my biggest goal was to prove people wrong. So I'm like, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. So I started studying ever since I was in school to get promoted. And my first time taking the exam was a couple weeks after I got to my ship, and I got a P eval because it was like, they didn't know who I was. And I took the exam and scored, I think I needed 8 more points to get promoted, and I was really mad at myself because I'm like, I was that close, and if I had a regular eval, I would have made it. So I personally took it upon myself to do these things to up my chances of making rank. So first thing I did, I got super qualified. I started surpassing my peers, E4, E5. I was like out qualifying people. I was taking on extra roles, and I mean, all that stuff looks good for your eval. I was like, at one point I was giving our training petty officer like a PQS a day, and she was like shocked. She was like, wow, okay. And I had like a binder with like all my stuff, and I was just grinding through it, getting signatures from people. And I feel like that helped a lot because your eval is based off of like performance, leadership, your quals, and like a few other things. And that is an eval category. And that actually, I don't think it led to me getting an MP, but they gave like me and the other E4s that haven't been there for a year, like MPs as like a standard eval for the next test, which I ended up making it off of. But my actual eval was an EP, which was a direct result of all the work that I did. And if I didn't make it off of that first exam where I actually had an eval, I would have definitely made it off of the second one just off of the EP alone, because the EP is like 64 points, which is like half the points you need to advance. I'd say the second thing that I did was I grinded through the pubs. So I was studying in school already, and that made me score really high my first time. I think I was like in the 89th percentile or something my first time. And that wasn't enough. And I wanted to score so high that the eval wouldn't matter because I missed by 8 points. So I pretty much every week I would study certain topics. I would like stay after work sometimes. When we were underway, I would like go after watch, ask people questions. We had some specialists for my rate that was like underway with us. I would go to them and ask questions. I would go to people that have worked with systems that I don't really know about and ask questions so that they could explain things that I would never learn, or like older systems that I would never see that maybe will be on the exam, and just collect as much knowledge as possible. And I actually had a book that was like my study guide where I'll take notes on everything. So I probably spent from the September exam, I started studying in maybe like November, and I was doing like light studying, and then we ended up going underway, and I studied from like January all the way till the March exam till like the night before the March exam. So I pretty much studied for like 3 to 5 months straight for the exam, and I scored in the 94th percentile, and I'm pretty sure that's because of all the studying I did, because the test, you're not going to know everything on the test. And even if you read all the publications, you're not going to understand everything. So going to people, getting mentorship, having them show you things that you wouldn't understand, like concepts, skills, certain equipment that you don't know about, really helps. The third thing I did was I was very curious, I would say, and like kind of humble about it. Like I would ask people questions about the ship, about collaterals, about just general things, about like stuff like work related, and kind of taking a bunch of knowledge. And I got called dumb, I got called stupid, I was roasted. People are like, how do you not know this? Or what, like, you're like, how do you not understand this? But I took it upon myself to learn all these extra things, to figure out what's the best collaterals to have, what's the best watches and stuff to have that's not gonna like kind of screw you over. Like doing a watch where you're gonna be like, I don't know, like a watch that's kind of pointless and it's not really gonna look that good compared to a watch that's like, it might be a little bit harder but it looks really good. And like qualifications that actually matter, so you're not just aimlessly doing every single DC qual that you barely want to do when you could do maybe the electrical pipeline and do like CSOS, CSL, certain things like that, which, I mean, they both matter, but one will look better than the other depending on like your job. And yeah, I just went and got knowledge from as much people as I could about different things. And I believe those three things weighed the most on my success, because with all the studying, I scored high enough that the eval didn't really matter. I would have made it even if I had another P. So the MP just gave me extra points, but I would have made it either way. And if I didn't make it, I got that EP because of how much work I put in. So the next cycle, I would have probably made it with the EP with no problem. And if you have an EP and your quotas are bad, like certain jobs like a BM or HM or certain things like that, you could possibly get mapped because you're very high performing if they have the map packages available, or if like they write it out a certain way. And the grinding part, or not the grinding part, but the staying curious part, it affected me in other ways, because my last eval, my first eval as an E5, I got an MP, which, I mean, for my first eval as an E5, that's pretty good, which means I'm better than some E5s that have already been there. But it's because before I even became E5, I was already learning those things and like working myself to that level, so that when I take my E6 exam, hopefully I have another EP, or I'm like at a level where I can make it my first or second try and just keep going up. So yeah, so my advice would be stay hungry, tell yourself you're gonna do it, and have your own internal encouragement and motivation to study, to grind through all the qualifications, to get what you want to get at the end of the day, which is like more pay or the benefits. Stay humble, don't be afraid to ask questions or talk to people and look dumb, because some people are going to call you dumb, some people are going to break you down, but at the end of the day, you're learning, and that's more knowledge for you to use however you want. And everybody has a different perspective, everybody has different answers, so all that stuff goes into whatever you do, like however you choose to use it. And kind of going back to the eval thing, it is really good to write down every single thing you do. Like I have like notes on my phone that has every single thing I do, like down to like how many watches I stand, like maintenance that I've done, preservation that I've done, pretty much everything that I do. So when it's time to write that eval that's gonna lead to like that EP or MP or whatever for promotion, it's like your brag sheet could have as much as you want on it. So I'll just write all that stuff, which gives my chain of command, like if I write my eval and they don't like certain things or they want to change certain things, there's like 100 things that they could pick out of to replace it with, or look at and be like, oh, maybe this like weighs more than this thing that I wrote, and they use that instead of what I did. So that, I feel like that's pretty helpful. And yeah, that's pretty much everything that I did, or I think that's a summary of everything I did to make rank pretty fast. I'm honestly still shocked that I made E5 in 2 years, and I think the reason I'm really shocked is because the quotas, when I picked this rate because I wanted to advance really quickly, which is also why I picked the technician route, because you get auto E4 and all that stuff. And because of COVID, the quotas dropped to like 20%. And then when I took the exam the second time, the quotas dropped again to like 15%. And I was like, yo, there's no way I'm gonna make this. And I made it off of 15%, so I'm even more shocked at that. But yeah, do with this information what you will. Like, comment, subscribe. You could DM me. Are there I'm pretty sure there's DMs on YouTube. I'm not sure, but if there's not, my Instagram is on my YouTube page, or you could just leave comments below on other things that you'd want to see. I'm trying to make, I guess, all the videos that I was planning to make that I didn't have time to make now, since I have like a little bit more free time, and answer any questions that people would want to know, since now the military is doing like the 25K signing bonus, and everybody's trying to do research and figure out, like, I guess, the lifestyle and like how the job is. So if you do have questions, just leave them in the comment, and I'll either answer them in the comment section, or I'll just make another video depending on what the question is. So yeah.